Hello everyone and welcome to YoHoJo's second scripting tutorial. And this tutorial won't really be a part of my teaching you how to script series, but be a little subsection, because in this I'll just be teaching you how to use and make DTMs. And DTMs, what they're good for is mainly finding objects in your inventory or in a bank screen or anywhere that they appear flat with a black outline around them. DTMs have also commonly been used for walking sometimes and other things, but they mostly work for things that are static or stay the same, like the mini-map and if you're standing in the same place with the same angle, or mainly items. So in this tutorial I'll only be teaching you how to use DTMs to find items. One thing you'll want to do maybe real quick is go to the SRL scripting reference right here and maybe just read this first paragraph about DTMs and how they work. In fact, I'll read it to you. A DTM, in my view, is just a relatively simple way of defining a relationship between several points. Each of these points have a relative offset to each other and may differ in color, tolerance, area size, and shape. A DTM generally consists of one main point and several subpoints. And as you can see here, your DTM will consist of many points, colors, tolerances, area sizes, area shapes, and matching points. And another thing you might want to check out right here, I'll put all these links in the description box, is my tutorial, which is actually very old. It dates even before 2006. I made this actually at the Katenix forum back in maybe even 2003 or 2. But still, even though it's that old, DTMs have not changed very much at all over time. So even though this tutorial may be old, it's still pretty relevant. Except this was made using Scar, what we used to use before Simba, but the Simba DTM editor is quite similar. So if you need a text reference or just want some picture examples or anything like that, you can look through here, and everything will be pretty much the same. And in this example, as you can see, I teach you how to use DTMs to find logs in your inventory, and they can be used for any item. So let's start by going to RuneScape and logging in. You also want to open up Simba. We'll call the program DTM test. First thing you want to do is define your DTM, and DTMs are integers, so you'd go variable. And let's see what items I happen to have on whatever account I log into. I'm going to pause for a second and figure out an account to log into. Okay, I'm back. Let me log in. Alright, oh, my banana sold. Wonderful. Look at me. Deposit that, and let's see, we'll make our DTM, just like my tutorial, we'll make them for some logs. Those look ugly. Actually, we'll use this robe. As you can see here on the side, it's a little deformed. This is a little graphical glitch that's been occurring recently. But the tutorial will still work either way. But if this glitch wasn't to occur right now, then the DTM would not work. But don't worry about that. This glitch will be fixed eventually, and everything will be the proper size. So the first thing you want to do is have the item somewhere, either in your inventory, in your bank, or even in your equipped, anywhere that it looks flat and has a black outline around it. We'll use the bank, in fact, because as you can see now the sleeve is complete, it looks normal. So one thing you want to make sure is to go to View, Extensions, and many of you who don't actually script and just use Simba won't have this enabled. It's called DTM Editor. So what you want to do is double click that so it turns green and make sure this box is checked. And what that will do will give you, under your tools, the DTM editor. And this is what it looks like, very similar to my tutorial. And when you open it up, it should load load this screen. It'll basically be a snapshot of whatever you have open. And we just want to focus right now on this robe we want to find. Very first step to making a DTM is clicking in the very middle of the item you want to click, because it's the very center. That's where you actually want to click it. So, bam. That's our first point. And your first point is called the parent point, because all the other points are just sub-points. So this could be the main point, the parent point, and all of them are like child points or sub-points. As you can see here, after I clicked it, it gave me some information. I have the coordinates of it, the color. I believe this is... no clue what these last three are. Doesn't really matter. So as you can see, I got that now. The next thing you want to do is click a few points around the item along the outline. As you can see up here in this section, it tells me exactly where my mouse is. I want to make sure every time I click, it's going to be on that black outline. And as you can see, the color is 131072. This color is pretty much always the same. I remember at least one time in the past though, Jagex changed it, but most of the time this color is constant, so you don't have to worry about changing it. So I'll pick about 4 points. So 1 down there. And you want them to all be in kind of different places so you can get a good idea of the outline of the object. So I'm moving my mouse slowly, making sure each one is along the outline and each one has that same color so I know it's on the outline. And that's done, and I created all these points. So now as you can see, as I said, this 131072 color never changes, so I won't need any tolerance on that color. I can leave that alone and I'll be fine. But as we know, other colors in RuneScape always are changing around slightly, unnoticeable to the human eye. So what I want to do here is add some tolerance to this. Now if I just wanted to find a blue robe and nothing else and only blue robes, I can make my tolerance, let's say 50. And that's just a guess. Sometimes it could be lower, sometimes it could be higher, but usually semi-low is fine. Usually I think 20 or 30 will work. But in other instances, let's say you have a power miner or a power chopper or something like that. You want it to be able to drop all kinds of logs or all kinds of ores. So for logs and ores, these points will always be the same, these sub-points or child points, because the outline of every log and every ore is the same, and they're all the same color. But the one thing that differs is the main point. As you can see here, for a blue robe, I have this blue color. But if I wanted this, let's say I made this for logs or ores, or let's say I also had a black robe here, and I wanted this DTM to be able to find both blue or black robes. What I would do would be set my tolerance to 255. What this does is this is the maximum tolerance, so essentially this will just look for these outline points and any color point in the middle. So if I leave this as 255, this can find blue robes, black robes, purple robes, rainbow robes, whatever robes, as long as they have the same outline. So if I were to make this for logs, and I made this tolerance here 255, it would find any type of logs. If I made it for ores and made my tolerance 255, it would find any kind of ores. One tip you want to remember is, I said to click the outline, but sometimes if you have multiple of an item, like my essence here, or my iron ores here, you want to avoid points near the top left, because those might be obscured if the user has multiple of them. So maybe click a center point, and maybe around the bottom half will be your parent points or sub points. Next thing you want to do is you always want to save your DTMs, because colors might change, things might change, you might want to edit it later, see what you did. So I will save this as blue robe, and now I clicked File New, and I forgot exactly how this works in Simba, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to reopen my DTM, Blue Robe DTM, and I'm going to see if it works. I'm going to test it. So let's open up this bank again, and let's see. We'll go to Image, Show Matching DTMs. Yikes. And give me 1 second. I'm actually gonna pause again and figure out exactly what's going on real quick. Give me a sec. Okay, I think the problem was that I didn't make enough sub points or sub points or child points around the outline. And if you guys go back a little bit, you saw all those X's all over my screen. What that basically meant is it found multiple instances of that DTM, which means my DTM wasn't specific enough. So we're gonna remake this DTM, and I'll show you how easy and fast it could be. Like I said, click once in the middle, and click around the outline a few times. This time I'll have more than 4 points. I'll choose a few all around. It really doesn't matter too much. DTMs are really fast. There we go. And if we wanted our DTM to work for any colored object with the same outline, you'd click your parent point, tolerance to 255, and we'll save this as blue robe DTM. Okay, so now let's refresh everything. We will reload the client, reload the client, open my DTM, and now to check if your DTMs work, that's why it's a good thing to save them. In the future, you might want to edit a few things, raise the tolerance, something like that. You'd open your DTM, click Image, Show Matching DTMs, and once again, I have 2 X's, one on this blue robe, which is exactly what I want, and another on these coins, which is quite odd since I made a lot of points, but once again, let's try making this properly. Adding even more points to it. Usually just having, honestly, 4 or 5 points is always good enough. For some reason right now, it just doesn't seem to be wanting to work with me. So let's test again. Image, show matching DTMs. There we go. Only the robe was found, and this X is exactly on what was found. So once you have your matching DTM that works to your liking, you'd go to DTM, print DTM, or the hotkey is Control key, which I'll press right now. And what happens is, as you can see down here, the DTM is printed out into Simba language, if you want to call it that. So now what we would do is you'd copy and paste this DTM into your procedure. Oh, first things first, we wanted to name our DTM. It was blue robe, and you can name this anything you want. It doesn't have to match the name of the DTM. I can just call it robe, and it would be a variable integer, just like that. Now, the first thing you want to do is load your DTM. What this does is it tells Simba, hey, check out this DTM I made. And you want to, as you can see here, it says DTM. You want to change that to whatever you named it. So robe, colon equals, and this basically equates to the DTM you made. Next, you want to use the find DTM function. And there's multiple DTM functions that you can see on this on the scripting reference. You have all down here: free DTM, find DTM, find DTMs, find DTM rotated, etc., etc. But for our tutorial's sake, all we really want to be doing is finding the DTM normally. So we'll just use if find DTM, and as you can see here, the variables, the name of the DTM, robe, the X and Y, and we leave this as X and Y, and that will spit out the coordinates of it, and the coordinates of a box on which to search for. And when using Simba and SRL and all that stuff, a lot of these values are hard-coded, like main screen X1, main screen Y1, main screen X2, main screen Y2. What these are, this from this top left to this bottom right is the main screen. So the coordinates here are main screen X1, Y1. Coordinates here are main screen X2, Y2. And these are coded into Simba, so you don't have to always search for them and type them in yourself. And because of that, we'll need to include include SRL, I'm sorry. So give me 1 second. So basically at the top of your script, you just want to have you including SRL. have that on the top of your script, otherwise the script won't understand what these are. And since we used x and y, those are also variables we need to find. So if we find that DTM, then begin. First things first, you don't have to always have this in your script, but when writing and testing, you want to have some proof that you found it, so you put write led, this would be say, this will type something to debug box, yay, we found it. And then normally you want to move your mouse there. In my other tutorial I used move mouse, click mouse, things like that, and the ones built into Simba are M mouse, which means move mouse, and XY would mean the X and Y where the DTM was found. And then these last two, RX and RY, are the randomness built into the mouse procedure in Simba, which is what keeps you from getting banned. I'll put 7, 7. So this means it will move to the XY of the DTM with a randomness of 7 units in the X direction and 7 units in the Y direction. So it won't always move to the exact same point, because the DTM is essentially a single point that's found. So first you'd move your mouse there. The next thing you want to do is make sure you're on the right item, and we do that by checking the up text, which means whatever appears in the top left. When we hover on a robe, you see withdraw 1 wizard's robe. So if is up text, that means if it reads this in the up text, and you don't even have to put the whole thing. I could put just ARD from wizard. So if that's the up text, then mouse with mouse, unlike M mouse, just clicks. So I put XY and 0, 0 for the randomness. True. I'll explain why I put 0, 0. Because once you move your mouse to something, you don't move it again before you click. You just move and click like that. If I put randomness here, it would look something like move. It would check up for the up text, then it would move again and click, which is unhuman-like. True means a regular click, as in a left click, and if I put false, it would be a right click. And that should find our DTM. Say we found it if we found it. Move our mouse to it, check the up text to see if it's the correct item, and click on it to withdraw it. Another thing you always need to remember to do is free your DTMs once you're done. So we do free DTM and the name of our DTM, which is robe. What this does is freeze it from the memory, because we don't want it loaded in the background all the time, and we don't want it being loaded multiple times each time we want to search for it. So let's see if this compiles. Script compile. Amazing. First try it compiled. Drag your crosshairs to RuneScape. If you're using Smart, you won't have to do that though. And let's see if this. Oh, never forget to. Sorry about that. Anytime you're using SRL in the script, your first line should be setup SRL. As you can see though, it said yeah we found it, which means it worked. But since we didn't set up SRL, nothing happened. So drag your crosshairs, click play. It's just as simple as that. Nice and smooth. It was really fast. Found the DTM. Said yeah we found it right down here. Moved our mouse, checked the up text really fast, and clicked on it. And this could work for anywhere. Let's say you open your bank later and you want to deposit it. All you would need to do here is change these to your inventory, to search in your inventory, which would be MIX1, MIY1, MIX2, MIY2. And what these are is a box around the inventory, X1, Y1 being up here, X2, Y2 being down there. These are coded into SRL, so you always need this on top. And unfortunately, I don't think this will work right now, because as you can see, the left side of this object is a little deformed due to a graphical glitch. When I put in my bank, it looks fine, but let's see if it works anyways. This should click the robe. Actually, it still works. I guess my DTM didn't use any deformed points like that. Let's run it again. Yeah, this time it didn't find it. A little too deformed. but in the inventory it seems to work. So that will conclude my tutorial on DTMs. And in the future, I'll be making more just general overall scripting tutorials, as well as teaching you other techniques just like this one. Thanks for watching. Visit srl.com, and good luck with your scripting.